One Zambia, one nation. Good evening and thanks for joining us on tonight's edition of Zanis News. The headlines. Government launches 8th National Development Plan. Stakeholders react on IMF bailout. Mpasila Primary School in Mufumbwe in need of attention. And Muchinga cries for modern sports infrastructure. And now the news in detail. Government has launched the 8th National Development Plan, which will be used as a tool towards achieving the country's aspirations to be a prosperous middle-income country by the year 2030. The plan, which will run from 2022 to 2026, outlines the processes, interventions, and actions that the country will undertake to propel development. Michelo Malungisa reports.
President Hakainde Hichilema today launched the 8th National Development Plan, which sets the country's strategic direction and development priorities for the period 2022 to 2026. The plan, which is under the theme Socio-Economic Transformation for Improved Livelihoods, will be used as a vehicle to support the attainment of the country's restoration of macroeconomic stability for sustainable development.
We want to maintain adequate international reserves, which got depleted in the past. And thank you to all that are already well ahead on building these international reserves. It doesn't happen by luck or chance, it's orchestrated. That's the message. Because we need these reserves as a buffer.
And the president has also emphasized on the need for the country to maintain debt within manageable levels as a way of boosting economic recovery.
To restrain physical deficits that we experienced in the last 7 or so years, to a point where we failed to live within our means and defaulted on our obligations.
And civil society organizations in the country have praised the government for embarking on an ambitious economic repair and recovery program that will facilitate inclusive economic growth.
This is because this plan is pivotal to the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals, a bridge towards Agenda 2030, and an accelerator towards reaching our country's aspirations as exposed in the Vision 2030. Your Excellency, sir, we are appealing for reinforcement with an accompanying conducive legislative framework, sustainable financing, and enhanced accountability and oversight.
For the first time, the 8th National Development Plan is the only document that has so far been translated into Braille to accommodate the visually impaired.
There has not been any transcription into Braille and subsequent launch of any such copies of the previous national development plans, starting from the transitional development plans that were produced immediately after independence, to the recent 7th National Development Plan that elapsed in 2021 December.
Economic transformation and job creation have also been highlighted as key in the plan by facilitating increased trade and investment by the private sector. Michelo Lubinda for Zanis in Osaka.
Zambia has managed to secure a $1.3 billion United States dollar bailout package from the International Monetary Fund, IMF. The 3-year financial assistance is under an extended credit facility program aimed at supporting the re-establishment of sustainability and debt restructuring to create fiscal space for social spending in the economy. Speaking during a media briefing at the Mulungushi International Conference Center, Minister of Finance and National Planning, Situmbeko Msokotwane, explained that the IMF bailout package is a cushioning effect because its concessional money has a lower interest rate and has a long-term payment. And IMF Zambia's resident representative Priya Sharma disclosed that the terms and conditions of the IMF is 0% interest rate and has a gradual repayment program. Meanwhile, Bank of Zambia Governor Danny Kalialia was happy that the program has reached its climax.
We are going to deal with the issues of excessive debt by discussing with our creditors. Unless something else that we don't know happens, we can be assured that exchange rate stability is back to us here in Zambia. Exchange rate stability is one of those positive things that will happen. You can also be assured that because we are dealing with the creditors to reduce how much we owe, you can be assured that the money that was not previously available to take children to school, to finish off and finish infrastructure, to put money in the rural areas through CDF, stuff like that, you can be assured now that that money will continue to be there.
I just wanted to thank again the Minister and the Governor for inviting me today. In terms of our engagement, this is the beginning of our engagement, and we very much look forward to continue to working with the government. Significant reforms have already been put in place, and we are very confident that the government will continue to stand by these reforms to restore macroeconomic stability, to ensure that social spending does increase going forward, and also complete and continue with the reforms on increasing transparency and governance. Thank you very much.
Focus on our mandate of price stability, which is the primary objective. But as you see from the Bank of Zambia Act, which is one of the elements of this reform, we have two main functions: price and the financial system stability. But there's a ranking that has been determined, which means price stability takes precedence, but financial stability is also our core mandate.
Ministry of Information and Media Permanent Secretary Kennedy Kalunga says the ministry will ensure that all Zanis offices are fully equipped. The PS said this today when he handed over camera equipment to Zanis Copperbelt Provincial Office. More in the following report.
It is a handover of a professional camera for the Zambia News and Information Services Zanis office in Dola. Minister of Information and Media, Kennedy Kalunga, handed over the camera to the Copperbelt Provincial Information Officer, Priscilla Simkoko at Mass Media Complex. The PS is optimistic that all the Zanis offices across the country will be fully equipped to disseminate information to the public.
Hoping that in the next 3 years, every district will have a tool. The journey, you start with one step. As we started this year, providing tools to all our provincial headquarters. We started with the provincial headquarters. Eventually, we shall move to the districts. So we are hoping that this month, we should be able to satisfy the 10 provinces to provide these tools. And we are hopeful that in the next coming months and years, we'll start to provide tools in the 116 districts.
Zanis Director Lois Siley encouraged the officers across the country to work extra hard.
Zanis is a government department. We are there to give information so that the people can be well informed for them to make sound decisions, well informed for them to participate in national development. I think that is the role that Zanis has to play. So please let us go out using these tools and gather that news, and especially the news that impacts on the lives of ordinary Zambians. Yes, the event-based reporting is good, it's important, but let us go and look out for the ordinary Zambians. There are programs, government programs like the CDF funds that are being rolled out. Let us tell the stories of how this money is impacting.
For the Provincial Information Officer, this is motivational.
I'm so grateful that you have actually helped us with the camera. It has been long since the department received cameras. I don't even remember when, but to receive one, we are so grateful. It's really a motivation to us as a province.
The peers also handed over another camera to the Zanis Chibombo office. Jane Simalumba, Zanis in Lusaka.
Mpasela Primary School in Mufumbwe's Chizela Ward is set to be renovated using the Constituency Development Fund, CDF. The school, which has over 300 pupils, has inadequate classroom space, poor sanitation and shortage of desks. More in the following report.
Clean and safe water, standard toilets and availability of desks are some of the basic requirements for a school to offer quality education to learners. However, for Mpasela Malanglusha Primary, which started as a community school 8 years ago, the situation is different.
So tunabaromba konamba vitkwasheko mema pano pa skuru
yatujina madeski ne nangu tupakuremba kinshupira bingi nkanka bakuremba nene kutako maana kintako maana wewe nakufundishana mambona ikara akipati safe ne.
This incomplete 1x2 classroom block at Mpasela Malanglusha Primary School is inadequate to accommodate a total of 360 pupils from grade 1 to 7.
Apart from the challenges that the school is facing currently, that of critical water shortage, the shortage of desks in classes, and also the lack of toilets within the premises, our earnest appeal to the government is that they actually help us through the Member of Parliament and the councillor that we have, provide us with the 1x3 classroom block so that this one can actually help us bring those grades that are learning from churches, that is grades 2 to 6, bring them closer so that we'll be able to offer quality education to learners.
Chizela Ward Councillor Langson Mwansa expresses commitment to sorting out the challenges at the school.
As they shall be applying for 1x3 classroom block, I will also advise them to apply for a borehole, of which a borehole will be given to them as a bonus. I'm going to make sure that I work hand in hand with the council chairperson and the MP to consider or to come up with a plan of manufacturing desks within our district, which will help us to supply desks to schools across this district, and Mpasela Malanglusha will be one of the beneficiaries of the desks.
For Zanis in Mufumbwe district, I'm Glado Ngoma.
Still in the news, we moved to Nsama district in Northern Province, where over 1 million kwacha has been dispersed under the constituency development funds in the area. 446,000 kwacha is for students' bursaries under the secondary school boarding fees, while the remaining amount is for empowerment grants under the youths and women clubs. Here's a report by Helen Walia.
These are youths and women clubs that have benefited from the Empowerment Fund under the 2022 Constituency Development Fund, CDF, for Chimbamilonga constituency in Nsama District, Northern Province. Over 1 million kwacha has been disbursed as CDF in Nsama, of which 546,000 is for student bursaries under the secondary school boarding fees, while 468,000 is for empowerment grants under the youths and women clubs. Chimbamilonga Member of Parliament presented the checks to youths and women clubs and learners in boarding schools.
What does this devolution of the resources from central government to the local level entail? What it entails is that we must grow our economy locally, meaning that there should be active participation by the local contractors so that the money circulates within the community.
David Siame is Nsama Council chairperson.
As in Sama Town Council, we are ready to implement and ensure all community projects are approved by the ministry, are completed on time and handed over to the community. I'm urging you all to participate in all developmental decisions making.
Meanwhile, beneficiaries are happy with this development.
Inchende Yesu nga muchuo wanti yala be ikankala pamulandu wakwe bati wanu yala kwishensala tu yala lenga bali abantu abakatwafa ukubomba iyi project na bena bakachite benefit pali impia into batupela ngo uteko.
We had challenges when we first opened this school because learners cannot access boarding facilities because of financial challenges. Now with the listening government, our learners have been supported and we are grateful for this. 186 secondary school boarding learners and 21 youth groups and cooperatives have benefited from the CDF in Insama district. Helen Boalia for Zanis in Insama, Northern Province.
Zambia Statistics Agency ZAMSTATS has partnered with the Zambia News and Information Services Zanis in intensifying publicity in the ongoing National Population and Housing Census exercise. As a part of the census publicity campaign, the agency is conducting public mobile announcements and drama performances in selected parts of Lusaka. Lakson Makosa has the details in this report.
The Zambia Statistics Agency ZAMSTATS has heightened the census publicity campaign in selected parts of Lusaka following reports of some residents refusing to be enumerated. The agency is using drama performances to raise awareness on the importance of being counted in the ongoing National Population and Housing Census exercise. The use of drama performances in sensitizing and educating the public on the need to be counted has elated members of the public who have since called for increased publicity. A spot check by Zanis news crew in Kabanana and Mandevu compounds found enumerators busy collecting information from respondents, while some ZAMSTATS officials were sticking posters and distributing flyers. Those enumerated have since urged members of the public to desist from chasing enumerators, as reported in some sections of the media. In a bid to intensify census publicity, ZAMSTATS has partnered with Zanis in sensitizing communities through mobile public announcements.
All national assignments or programs such as the census and others, it is our role as Zanis to publicize these programs and activities so that the citizens, one, are well informed and that the citizens are able to make sound decisions to participate in national programs such as the census and
the 6th census of population and housing, which commenced on the 18th of August, will run up to the 14th of September 2022. For Zanis, I'm Lakson Makosa.
Still on census, Lusaka Province Principal Census Officer Robert Kamalata is impressed with progress made in the census exercise in Rufunsa district, where most of the enumerators have reached over 50% of their targets. Mr. Kamalata, who is also Provincial Permanent Secretary, is touring the district to monitor the exercise and observes that though some of the enumerators are facing some challenges, a number of them have reached their targets. Shupekile Nkunika has more in this report.
As Principal Census Officer, Lusaka Province Permanent Secretary Robert Kamalata has toured Rufunsa district to monitor the ongoing census of population and housing. Most enumerators here have done more than 50% of the target and are optimistic that they will complete the exercise before September 18, when the census is set to finish.
Yes, I finished yesterday, I had 47 houses.
They're remaining with about 20, others only have 2. We have others that are only remaining with about 4. So far in this area, we can say that our enumeration is going on well.
But some have encountered challenges owing to long distances and the hilly terrain in the district.
Yeah, the distances are vast, and some of the enumerators have to cover maybe 4, 5, 6 kilometers just to get to their work areas.
Find one household here, and then another one maybe after maybe 3 or 4 kilometers, and then this area again, there's no electricity to charge the power banks.
District Census Officer Richard Mabene, who is also Rufunsa District Commissioner, is appealing to government to help the district with a vehicle to ease its operations in the census exercise.
We are using one vehicle, and as I can say now, this one vehicle does not cover the area very much.
Mr. Kamalata is impressed with the progress made so far.
We got these enumerators from this place, so they understand the environment very well. So far, I think we are doing well, and the numbers are quite encouraging.
Hlupekile Nkonika for Zanis in Rufunsa District, Lusaka Province.
Government has resumed the distribution of farming inputs under the 2022-2023 wetland crop season component of the Food Security Pack program in Choma District. Choma Mayor Javen Simoloka has said so far 700 vulnerable but viable farmers will benefit from the inputs. More in the following report by Runia Sakala.
It has been 10 years since the district received such support. Government, through the Ministry of Community Development, has resumed the distribution of farming inputs under the wetland season component of the Food Security Pack program, FSP, in Choma. 700 households are set to benefit from this program, which targets vulnerable but viable farmers. Choma Mayor Javen Simoloka has flagged off the distribution.
This is meant to help the vulnerable farmers and families come out of poverty. This is coming free of charge. The only thing that they have to give back at the end of the season is that for the people who are growing maize, who are getting 5 kg seed and 2 bags of fertilizer, 1 base or 1 top, is to give a 25 kg of the product in terms of value. This hasn't been happening in southern Zambia. We've not seen this for the last 10-12 years. And as a leader in the district, we are glad and happy that the government has actually considered us.
At the same event, District Commissioner Sikalea Gamela called for prudent use of the inputs.
What we want to do is to encourage the would-be beneficiaries to take an opportunity, take advantage of this product. If they plant 5 kgs of say maize and 100 kgs of fertilizer, surely they are likely to make a good harvest and alleviate poverty. It is a trend that someone gets a commodity and they end up selling it prematurely. So we must begin now to observe rule of law. Yes, because if you sell it, that is stealing. And someone who has stolen is criminal. Eh?
And the beneficiaries are grateful to government.
Ndireraba mujara. Enonda rumba ukulumende twali buli dentalisyo. Lino mutwa abantalisyo. Pepe ndila yumma. Alimi lino sijirangiri kuyolomberera ku muntu kamboga kuti ngulumende yandigwa yakumaga na bulimi.
Runia Sakala, Zanis, Choma.
The Zambia Correctional Service, ZCS, has commenced putting up center pivot systems and clearing land on the newly acquired 700 hectares of land at the Momboshi Dam in Chisamba District in readiness for the planting season. ZCS Commissioner General Frederick Chilukutu says the service won a bid to venture into horticultural farming of onions and potatoes at the dam to bridge the gap left after the government ban on the importation of the crops. More in the following report by Sandy Walia.
The Momboshi Dam in Chisamba District, which was constructed by the World Bank, is designed to benefit all categories of farmers ranging from commercial, medium and small scale. The Zambia Correction Service has won a bid to start growing horticultural crops such as onions and potatoes, among others, to cushion the deficit after the ban on importation of the crop. Already, the service has started putting up center pivots and clearing of land on the 700 hectares allocated to it.
This is Momboshi. Now we are in the field. We have mounted now the 3 center pivots. We are just assembling them now to begin to do the work. We want to quickly test also the pumps that are here are still brand new, so we need to test the efficacy of the pumps before we go into real work. And we're in a hurry to ensure that the pivots are operational. We hope that in the next 2 weeks, our officers on the ground have assured us the pivots will be running. That way then, even as we go into cropping, as we estimate February, because we are putting onion here, then we should be certain that we are truly on the ground.
Dr. Emmanuel Skazwe is Zambia Correction Service Deputy Commissioner in charge of Irrigation Development Support Project.
This to express the interest in the running of Momboshi as a Tier 3 farmer. As you know, Momboshi is an irrigation scheme which was built by the government of the Republic of Zambia in collaboration with the World Bank. So we responded to the advert and expressed interest. After the bids were evaluated, we were the best bidder for Tier 3 farmer for Momboshi.
Meanwhile, in its continuous farm expansion journey aimed at increasing food production for the service and the country at large, the service has started the process of acquiring the Chiawa Zambeef Estate farm in Kafiwe district.
In a nutshell, we are here as a fact-finding mission to appreciate the investment that we want to get into. Is it viable? You have explained very well. We are on the ground as managers to produce as wished by the directors out there. So equally ourselves wanted to appreciate the ground which you have ably explained and shared with us. We'll find now the next step to engage the administration in headquarters, also assess the pertinent issues that we want to bring on table as we go to discuss with the finance office and government at large.
Reporting, I'm Sunday Warrior.
Central Province Minister Credo Nanjua has called for the preservation of Kawe's rich historical heritage. The minister said this in a speech read on his behalf by Kawe District Commissioner Lennox Shimwamba during the Kawe Arts and Cultural Heritage Festival in commemoration of the discovery of the Broken Hillman skull in Kawe and the erection of the Broken Hillman National Monument at the Civic Center. Our staffer Kelvin Temple brings us this report.
Importance of Kawe's rich historical heritage cannot be overemphasized. The discovery of the Broken Hillman skull and the district being the first mining town in the country make up part of the rich historical heritage of Kawe, formerly known as Broken Hill Town.
The commemoration we have today is very important, an important event to highlight Zambia's cultural heritage and significance. The renowned Broken Hill man of Kawe, or Kawe man, currently residing in the Natural History Museum in London. Today, in recognition of this, a national monument was erected in front of the Kawe Civic Center with English and Bemba inscriptions written alphabetically.
The district commissioner also shared the historical heritage of the district.
I cannot overemphasize the importance of holding such an event in Kawe, whose theme is arts, exhibition, culture, and heritage, levers for building the Kawe we want. Firstly, Kawe is the capital of Central Province, historically founded when lead and zinc were discovered in 1902, thus making the first mining town in Zambia.
Kawe Cultural Festival Organizing Committee chairperson called for the preservation of the rich cultural heritage.
The objective of the Cultural Heritage Organizing Committee is developing local tourism through promotion of our cultural heritage. Through promotion, we need to bring out and talk about our cultural heritage. We need to explore and appreciate our cultural heritage. We need to celebrate and enjoy our cultural heritage.
Kelvin Tembo for Zanis in Kabwe, Central Province.
And lastly, in the news this evening, the sports fraternity in Muchinga Province has called on government to consider constructing modern sports facilities in the region through the Increased Constituency Development Fund, CDF. Muchinga provincial football coach Isaac Fundi charged that the region has talented sportsmen and women that lack modern sports facilities in order for them to improve their skills. And Chinsali Superstars Football Club Secretary Thomas Mayaka observed that all football surfaces in Chinsali are very hard for players to showcase their required skills, stressing that a facelift of these fields will be highly appreciated. Meanwhile, Kenny Sakuaha, a Chinsali-based sports analyst and assistant coach, said it is sad to know that many talented personnel shun away from participating in sports activities due to poor infrastructure.
These are the fields that these football players in Muchinga Province train on and have their main football matches and tournaments. The hard surfaces of these fields have been a source of concern by the sports fraternity, as there have been a huge setback to skills development. This situation has sparked serious concern from the sports fraternity in Chinsali, who are calling on government to consider improving and constructing modern sports facilities in all sports disciplines in the region.
It's too painful to see our province not having a good pitch, because we have a lot of talent. It's not that we can fail to produce players to play from the national team.
My plea to the stakeholders and the government is to consider Muchinga Province, precisely Chinsali, as the provincial capital, so that we can have at least an infrastructure that is appealing, that can motivate the younger ones.
Kenny Sakuaha, an assistant football coach, says the improvement of these facilities will help improve skills for sportsmen and women.
We have a lot of players, but we look at the infrastructure. The same goes for the netball, basketball, football. The infrastructure is not right. So most of our players shun away from these particular sports.
Since Muchinga was declared a province in 2011, the region has never benefited from any modern sports infrastructure. Henry Lumpa Jr., Zanis in Chinsali, Muchinga Province.
As we end the news, a recap of the headlines. Government launches 8th National Development Plan. Stakeholders react on IMF bailout. Mpasela Primary School in Mufumbwe in need of attention. And Muchinga cries for modern sports infrastructure. Well, that's all we had tonight on Zanis News. My name is Chisham Tele. Good evening and pleasant viewing.